A cool breeze flowed through her hair as Shade leaped onto the roof of a building. The night was cloudy, with most of the stars blocked. Though the moon was still prominent in the sky, it provided enough light for them to navigate the top of the buildings as they headed towards the center of the city. Preparation for this moment took longer than expected. The city was different than any other she encountered, so it was necessary to take the necessary precautions. Gathering daily information was proceeding smoothly, and now the only place that they didn't have information was inside of the building in the center. Considering this is where everyone of importance was located, they figured that special attention was needed to make sure there would be no issues. There must be records for how this city can perform the way it has, Shade grumbled to herself. If she were to return now to the capital with only the current information, she would likely be laughed out. Though it went against her professional style, Shade did think that this city was several times better than she had ever seen. Never before had she seen people so happy and walk around with purpose. Before becoming the leader of the Shadows, she lived a life of poverty. It was an environment where she needed to fear for her life. Her parents would sell her off to various people so that they could eat food. But this place was different. Here, people didn't need to worry about where they would get food from, or fear being molested by some stranger in the night. I cannot believe I am being so sentimental, Shade chuckled to herself. Reaching the final building before the entrance into the district, Shade gestured a signal to one of her men. He slowly maneuvered himself down the side of the building. If there was one nice thing about these buildings, is all the footholds that are placed for anyone to use. They are just begging for organizations like ours to infiltrate their peace-loving city, Shade grinned. She waited with her forces on top of the roof. Several minutes seemed to pass by slowly, and if this were any place else, she would have worried that the man scouting was killed. Slowly breathing in and out, she relaxed her body. The key when doing these types of operations was to make sure that your body was relaxed and your mind clear. A bird softly chirping could be heard off in the distance. Move, Shade ordered everyone. With a fluid grace from years of practice, they scaled down the side of the building and sprinted across the open area. There was a brief feeling of being exposed, but she was confident of the scouts' ability to sense any traps or guards. Directly in front of them was a large rectangular building that seemed to thrust itself out of the ground. There were no windows to enter through, with only a staircase leading towards the entrance. This entire location was completely covered in darkness, with no lighting usually found inside of a city. Lighting only seemed to exist inside and at the entrance of the districts. Counting herself lucky, she proceeded up the stairs and through the open doors. Once they were inside the structure and in some quarter, they hugged either side to limit their presence. I cannot believe they did not even lock the entrance, she softly laughed. Are you sure that your information is correct? Shade asked, looking at one of her men. Yes, mistress. All my sources were very open about the information, and there seemed to be no attempt at deception. This structure, called the Stronghold, is always open. No security checks are performed, so people are free to enter or leave as they choose. To not let our enemies know of our intentions, I decided not to enter this place, he assured her. This place's lack of security is very odd. I have heard of a police force, but we have yet to sense anyone on our way here. It is unlikely they have someone better at stealth compared to us, but we should proceed with caution. Once we get the necessary information, we will be leaving the city. Letting her eyes fall on each one of them, she said, failure is not an option. After a few minutes had passed, they proceeded down the long hallway. Looking around the area, Shade understood that the person of the city had an abundance of wealth. This quarter was lined with precious materials. Even the floor was some of the purest marble she had ever seen. There was not even dirt on the floor, which allowed them to move faster but without the usual noise of dirt being ground down. Though a place may appear clean, there would usually be dirt or other materials which would make crunching noises as a person placed their full weight on top of it. The friction generated would make a scraping noise, which may not be noticeable during the day when there are people, but it's different during the middle of the night. Such noises would echo and alert guards of intruders. I can see that they have sources of light, but none of them are on. For such a location where security should be tight, at a bare minimum, the lights should be lit to be a hindrance to people like us. Shade looked around them as they pushed forward. In front of them was an elaborate staircase leading up to another level. Instead of going up all at once, Shade had them move in groups to cover one another. This is going to be a piece of cake, Shade thought to herself.